that, you know, we want to make sure that things looks nice. So the possibility of human manipulation is there, just to please our, the contract managers. Human error. That's a big possibility. When you key in data into a system, definitely you're gonna face human error along the way. So because of this these challenges, you might not be able to identify the right energy conservation measures. Hence, ineffectiveness of the implementation of these ECMs. And last but not least, I would say that because of this, from a high level and micro level energy management challenges, we can say that FM and EVM does not jive together pretty well when you're in reality. So what can we do about this? Okay, what can we do about this? Okay, we need to have a solution in place. So based on the 1, 2, 3, 4 that I was saying just now, so we need to monitor energy consumption on real-time basis. So you must have something that you can use to identify the trend, to show a trend, so that you have a visual understanding how the energy use is in that property, in that building. And because when you have that technology system in place, you can ensure that data and information and also the integrity of the reporting. So this is very, very important. Okay, and because of that, then you can say you can review and justify energy-related activities, because you have a strong data in hand, convert to information, and this is where you can use that in your hand to determine the right ECM in place, so that you can have the right amount of energy saving optimization. Okay, and last but not least, with the data that you have, you can utilize it and to come up with an effective strategy, energy management. Okay, now basically this triangle, I have to say that it was solely developed by Encik Bhatia. Encik Bhatia and I actually we worked together before, and this is basically what I can conclude from his understanding and the things that we worked together with. So in his slide later, the solution that he came up with is basically based on this energy management triangle as the approach. Okay, so how do we go about in terms with your energy management if you don't know where to start? Always start with an energy audit. Okay, always start with an energy audit, because the energy audit gives you the right, it will ensure you understand your energy use, the behavior of your building, and the current behavior, whether there are wastages, whether you need to optimize. So basically at stage 1 is very important. Go in and analyze. Now, this is where you need to do 2 types of analysis. One is basically the audit, like your typical desktop or your walk around audits, this kind of thing. But at the same time, you can put a system in place. Okay, once you do an audit, you can decide, hey, you know what, I'm going to put real-time monitoring, energy management system in place, so that it will be much easier for me moving forward to monitor my energy usage trend. Okay, so moving from that level of phase 1 or step 1, you go up. Now you have data in hand. What are you going to do with it? You have to verify your data. Use it as much as possible to turn into valuable information, right? So with that in hand, you can say, you know what? I need to make people aware that we are wasting energy. So this is where you put maybe posters up, talks, and and try to make people aware that we need to do something about our energy use, reduce it, optimize it. And we can make, we can also enforce certain things, saying that, okay, after 6 p.m., we need to switch off the lights. Everybody needs to, go back and work from home. Or basically, you can say that, after 6 p.m., if you want to do something, like most people will do, say, please request for air conditioning usage, request to switch on lights. This is where you can implement those measures. Now, once you've reached to a point where your energy use, you cannot go down further, it has reached a plateau. This is where you might be thinking based on life cycle, your LCC also. All right, this is where you come in and say, you know what, I need to change my equipment. I need to upgrade my system. Okay, because you've reached a plateau. You cannot do. You've taken all measures in place. You can't do much, and certain equipments are basically just outdated or need some changes, replacement. This is where you come in. Okay, you come in, you replace. Once you have new system in place, it's rational to make sure that you set it up again to determine the new set point, to set up for a new demand control. And once you reach to a certain point where you reach another plateau, this is where you can say that I might be thinking a question mark where we need to have RE in place. So RE doesn't mean solar only. You can see you can have BESS or battery energy storage system, whatever you have in mind that can actually carve a bit of your energy usage from the main grid and transfer it to RE. Okay, so in other words, after you have done step 1 through 4, basically you already optimize your energy usage. So certain people might be thinking, let's just put solar in a building at the earliest stage without doing anything at all. So you might be investing quite high. Your capex will be really high. But if you can implement 1 through 4, basically you're reducing your capex cost because you're actually you're optimizing your system. So you've done everything in place. You just think, you know what, I want to invest in RE. All right. So at the end of the day, what makes putting all of this in place gives you benefits, right? So when you have the proper system in place and the implementing proper system technology in place, you will basically reduce your running costs. That's pretty obvious. And then you minimize your operation maintenance and costs. You'll improve building comfort, and holistically, basically you would say that you reduce your energy consumption and translate to reducing pollution. Okay, so example of a real-time energy monitoring system you can show here. It's pretty basic. You have your sensors, actuators, the field devices connected to a gateway going to some kind, to the cloud, and cloud going through a dashboard. So as we go along, we're talking about IoT and IR 4.0. The human to machine interaction is there. By having this, it really helps people to manage better, not only your building, but also your energy use. Okay, so basically this is my experience. This is my thoughts on based on the experience that I had in FM and EM. So Encik Zaini, that's all about from me. I think it's best right now. People are more interested to know how practical can we go with this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Samzul. Thank you very much. Very enlightening. Can you unshare your screen, please? Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. So I think this is not a really formal session, not really a proper forum or something. So I think I'm happy if any of you, okay, any of you attending today, right, have anything to share or anything to ask. I open it now. You don't have to
Zaini.
Yes, please. Who's this? Can you just open your phone, open your video, and can speak up? Yes. Tell who you are, and then okay. Nampak gambar pen nampak. Okay, Encik Abu Haris, Abu Haris.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. What's your question then?
Okay. Thank you.
Nama daripada mana, boleh tak?
Boleh. Zamrul. Saya Engineer Abu Haris bin Haji Syamsuddin. Currently, I'm a retired government servant, and formerly I've worked with JK for the past 37 years. And my last posting is with Water Authority at Putrajaya. Okay. I really try to share or concur with you on the slide of number 2, because I had the opportunity to be involved in developing the standards or the specifications, for the facility management contract. So I presume in your slide 2, your predicament or your problem can be addressed, because in our FM contract we have the specification, we have the operational procedures, because end of the day it ties back to people, place, process, and the technology. So I presume this slide 2 can be improved further by referring back to the JKR Cawangan Pengurusan Aset Bersatu so that at least you can leapfrog lah. You can move forward rather than you keep on telling the same thing, because in any FM contract, because you have to be sure that you need to differentiate between the FM contract and works contract, because in FM contract you really talk about services. So what are services that you want to do? So in our spec, where we refer our spec with the international standards, and we are looking into the as what in your slide number 3, where you talk about the energy conservation. So your tier of number 2 is if once it's already incorporated everything, then there's no reason why what you mentioned about the stakeholders cannot understand, or they won't be looking into something which is not useful.
Alright. Okay. Mungkin Cik Samsul boleh respond?
Okay, okay, terima kasih.
Thank you, Tuan Haji Abu Haris. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Tuan dekat JKR kat mana tu sebelum ni?
Saya civil engineer.
I see, okay.
And then daripada 2008 I'm involved in the asset management lah until 2018 lah. And then together with our good friend Cik Zaini, we built up the energy audit in DKR, but then we try to build up in water.
Oh, now I know who you are.
Okay.
Yes,
okay lah. Saya pun dulu I was with JKR tu for 6+ years before I moved to the private sector. I was mechanical last time, JKR mechanical.
Can you respond, Cik Aja?
Okay, so my response is basically yes. There are certain contracts that are managed well, but we cannot deny the fact that there are certain contracts where not all contracts are basically being managed well, and there are certain contracts that are not really stipulated well also in terms of the terms and conditions. So whatever I put here is basically the experience in terms of things that did not go well. Okay, because we cannot deny the fact that certain things. Okay, let me give you an example. Even if a contract gives you 3 months of basically to transition, okay, there are certain things that you have to really discuss. Even though it's stipulated well in the contract, you must be mutually agreeing and try to make people understand what is being stated in the contract. There are also contracts that have been dealt in the ASEAN region where it's not really clear, it's not totally clearly stipulated what they wanted. The only thing they say that I want to have a reduction in terms of energy use, or I want someone to manage my energy usage on a periodical basis. So, but that's why I said contractually it differs from client to client, or for contract managers from contract managers. There are good ones, there are bad ones. That is very unfortunate. But from a service provider point of view, is basically these are some of the pain points. There are certain people who are contract managers who may close one eye and say, you know what, we are the client, we want it this way. This is based on experience. But I'm not saying all of it are like that. There are good ones and there are some bad apples. So, but how do you want to basically jive between the owners and also the providers is actually to sit down. And whatever dispute that you have is basically need to be amicably discussed and agreed upon. So as much as I'm saying it's very ideal, sometimes it's not as very straightforward as that. But Engineer Buhari, I agree with you. To me, one of the good contracts that I've seen in terms of content is JKR. I don't deny. But how it's being translated and implemented sometimes can differ from client to client.
I just want to enlighten to you. You know what happened? Because it's already in the government policy. It's already in the government policy since 2008, whereby we are talking about the total asset management, you see. Because we are talking about billions of dollars in terms of government assets, you see.
Yes.
So, and then you have to differentiate, Are you going for works contract, as I mentioned earlier, or service contract? If you talk about service contract, It's already there. But then lately only we managed to register the contractors of FM, because you don't have that, you don't have the doers, you see. So now once you have the actual people to do it, then of course before you embark into any FM contract, you already have the process. As I said, in FM you must have the four things, the people, place, process, and technology.
Yes.
So we had to have that. So now I think there shouldn't be any problem to embark towards energy conservation in any government project with respect to the contract that we have currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can come to that. I think because I think there's always a way we can how to make it better. Because
Yes.
I personally involved in a lot of work, with I think engineer Abu Ari last time as well. So I think for me, put it this way, all right, we always always we have to deliver better. I think in fact before 2011, there's nothing in the FM contract about energy management. It was only half page. I was there, 2011, all right, at the Awana Genting, right, discussing board review the contract. So I think to be take it this way, there always way we can do it better. I think we are. It's an evolution. It's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Exactly.
Right.
I agree.
All right. So with that, I think don't worry. We have another 45 minutes by the end. So I think I have
Okay.
I have to
Okay.
let
Thank you.
Cik Batia now. Cik Batia, all right. I give the honor. Thank you very much, Tuan Haji Engineer Abu Aris, for sharing your thought. Right. Thank you very much, TS Zamzul for sharing his thought. Okay, very good. Okay, I'm very excited. Okay, I'm very happy. And then it's not a one-way session. Okay, now we let Cik Bahtia, okay, to share further, okay, because our topic basically about the success factor, challenges, and then the solution. We talk about solution, not just to highlight the problem. We have how to what can be done the way forward. So now, my honor to give call upon Cik Bahtia to continue with your sharing. Okay, to start with your sharing, please.
Terima kasih Zaini.
Alright, Cik Bahtia.
Saya honor lah dapat apa join sesi ni, perkongsian saya. Saya akan kongsi apa saya amalkan lah dari dalam kontrak FM ni. Saya deliver the energy management ni macam mana di bawah kontrak FM. Let me share the screen ini. Okay.
Okay, while waiting for that, all right, we have the chat there. You can also ask question there. Sometimes people just, we are engineers sometimes, most of our engineers, so they're a bit shy to ask directly. So you can put your question at the chat room. I read it for you, don't worry. Okay, okay, don't worry.
Okay, saya akan buat perkongsian lah apa yang saya dah amalkan lah dalam pengurusan tenaga di bawah kontrak FM. Macam sekarang ni ini ada topik yang saya akan kongsikan. Negara kita pun dah macam-macam inisiatif dari segi power generation, sehingga ke construction, guna GPI tool lah apa. Jadi sekarang ni di bahagian demand side, yang akan bertanggungjawab terhadap pengurusan tenaga ni dia letak di bawah pengurusan fasiliti. Sebab pengurus fasiliti ni dia tahu pasal bangunan, siapa yang tinggal di situ. So tanggungjawab dia dah sepatutnya memang di bawah pengurusan fasiliti lah. So bagi kes saya sekarang ni tengah supervise satu bangunan di bawah Kementerian Kewangan di Putrajaya. Inilah bangunan dia. Bangunan ni menggunakan lebih 3 juta kWh untuk 6 bulan bangunan ni. Under INIS, saya hantar laporan setiap 6 bulan kepada Suruhanjaya Tenaga. So saya untuk bangunan ni. So masa dulu, kalau orang cakap pasal pengurusan fasiliti ni, dia orang fikir maintenance dia. Sebenarnya facility management ni bukan takat repair and servicing work. Macam JKR listkan dalam dia punya spesifikasi, banyak proses yang kena implement. Okay. Salah satu dia adalah pengurusan tenaga. So, pengurusan tenaga ni part of the FM process lah, FMP dalam kontrak. Bagi kes saya banyak buat Pengalaman saya kebanyakan deliver facility management and emergency management ni di bawah kontrak kerajaan. Jadi saya tingkat dengan spesifikasi yang terdapat di dalam kontrak. Ini contoh FM spek dalam JKR punya kontrak. JKR memang komit sangat tinggilah dalam pengurusan tenaga. Dia improve dia punya facility management services punya kontrak specification ni. Setiap kali kontrak baru mesti ada penambahbaikan terhadap pengurusan tenaga. Kalau kita tengok sini memang dah tertera lah semua apa-apa aktiviti kebanyakannya semua akan berkaitan dengan pengurusan tenaga. Kalau ini yang kami nak kena ada planning yang tertentu lah untuk deliver skop kerja yang diberi. Jadi macam mana yang kami nak, masa saya dapat kontrak ni tahun 2019, baca spesifikasi JKR ni, saya fikir masa tu cara untuk deliver ni tiada lain, selain kena adopt satu standard atau guideline protokol untuk kita dapat bagi meet apa requirement dalam kontrak tu. Jadi saya praktiskan apa yang ada dalam ISO 50001 ni. Dia ada common lah, continuous improvement cycle. Mana-mana ISO pun inilah improvement cycle dia. Dan masa buat optimization, saya banyak refer pada MS 1525. Of course lah kena INA 2008 compliant. Ini adalah proses-proses dalam perancangan kami untuk masa kita laksanakan kerja. Saya dapat bantuan daripada bangunan tu, ada engineer manager sendiri yang membantu saya lah untuk praktiskan apa yang perancangan saya nak buat. Saya ikut pada plan, do, check and act yang saya dah tentukan kat sini. So, setiap yang kita buat tu, kami akan check balik sama ada berkesan ke tak aktiviti yang saya advise pengurus tenaga di bangunan tu. So, dan kita ada buat improvement lah dari feedback daripada pengurus tenaga di site. Semua ni kami sepatutnya nak dapatkan ISO 50000 certification dengan Encik Zaini masa awal tahun baru ni, tapi sebab PKP terpaksa tangguhkan sehingga tahun depan lah. Ini adalah format biasa lah yang saya amalkan dalam pelaksanaan pengurusan tenaga. Yang pertama, saya akan jadikan asas untuk buat apa-apa perancangan daripada energy audit report, dan saya pasang sistem pemantauan real time di bangunan tu. Saya dah tentukan apa SEUs yang guna daripada energy report tu. Sebab bangunan tu dah ada energy report sebelum ni, so kita refer balik. So last kali lepas dah habis part yang di bawah ni, baru kami akan consider untuk renewable energy. Bangunan tu dah ada RE actually, so cuma nak kena tengok balik nak buat baik ke dan sebagainya. Masa nak deliver ni, of course lah, saya ada challenge yang saya kena hadap lah. Di antara dia daripada proses FM tu sendiri, FMP tu sendiri. Ada 5 yang saya identify yang memberi impact pada pelaksanaan pengurusan tenaga di bangunan. So yang pertama adalah information system management. Information System Management ni dekat bangunan-bangunan di Putrajaya ni nasib baik ada lah historical record dia orang simpan dalam sistem BCIS. BCIS ni percuma dibangunkan oleh Greentech. Tapi data dalam ni saya kadang-kadang saya tengok ada yang salah typing ke apa, jadi saya terpaksa dapatkan surat untuk pergi refer balik pada dengan TMB dan kami betulkanlah data-data yang di dalam BCIS. So nak sahkan hard copy pun dah tak jumpa, benda dah lama. Occupancy, gross floor area, net floor area pun information bagi saya banyak tak update sebab banyak renovation telah dibuat. Jadi ini adalah salah satu barrier yang kita orang hadapi masa nak laksanakan pengurusan tenaga. Selain daripada tu, untuk pengurusan utilities. Okey, bus sistem yang ada dekat bangunan, sistem tu reading dia tak real time. Lepas tu data yang ada tidak display dalam grafik, kami terpaksa download dan kita nak kena plot. So takes time lah untuk dapatkan buat keputusan cepat, susah sikit. So SB drawing pun aset-aset baru tak link kepada bus system. So yang itu pun salah satu barrier yang kita terpaksa hadapi lah. Selain daripada tu, untuk tim O&M, sebab untuk buat pengurusan tenaga di bangunan-bangunan ni, kami terpaksa guna technical team yang sama. Yang buat preventive maintenance, untuk buat corrective maintenance, routine check. So energy manager di situ susah nak dapat kerjasama jugalah untuk dia buat dia punya program optimization. So sistem bus pula memang fully rely pada dashboard. Kalau sistem tu tujuh off, mungkin di site on. Nak masuk pun susah. Bangunan kerajaan ni dia ada restricted area lah lepas waktu pejabat. Ini pun salah satu barrier kita. Kita cuma tahu penggunaan tenaga hujung bulan, dapat bil kita tahu, so dah susah kita nak kawal. ESM yang kita buat, saving ratio yang kita buat pun keberkesanan dia pun kita susah nak dapat dalam bentuk data lah. Kalau bila bil tinggi selalu manager akan ada masalah lah nak kena present kenapa. So banyak buat assume lah. Terpaksa assume. Untuk buat awareness training pula, nak dapat kerjasama tu pun satu hal juga lah. Untuk kita nak bagi tahu pada occupant, pada tenant, pada staff maintenance, banyak tak berminat lah. Jadi kita pun perlu komitmen daripada pengurusan tertinggi. Jadi masa kita nak dapatkan komitmen daripada pengurusan tinggi, mesti kita nak kena tunjuk penggunaan tenaga dia, trend dia macam mana. Jadi kita perlu satu sistem information system lah, kita nak tunjuk bagaimana cara dia orang guna tenaga di bangunan. Jadi satu tentang penggunaan alat-alat ganti gambaran green. Kami terikat juga lah dengan dalam kontrak kena guna yang sama. Kalau nak guna yang lain pun kena ada certification dia. So harga dia susah kita nak comply dengan kita punya budget dalam pelaksanaan projek ni. Selalunya pembelian daripada sebut harga JKR sendiri. Jadi macam mana yang saya nak buat? Jadi saya masa saya ambil alih projek ni, saya pasang dekat SEUs semua significant engineering user yang utama macam sistem ASU, lighting, saya pasang sistem pemantauan online ni. Meter yang saya gunakan pertama adalah daripada Eniscope, ternama Eniscope dan Micro, dan ada yang OEM yang saya pasang sendiri ya. So kos ni saya guna kos dalam yang kita hargakan dalam kontrak FM. Bila ada benda ni, saya dah dapat maklumat, saya dah selesai tiga tiga halangan saya lah daripada sistem information system, utility management system and O&M management. Data yang ada kat situ, kita orang tunjuk dekat klien, trend dia penggunaan. So, daripada sini kita dapat komitmen lah daripada tenant sendiri, daripada top management. So, daripada situ kerjasama energy manager dapat lebih mudah. Sekarang ni dah sampai stage yang kita dah guna EE product. Ini JKR buka sebut harga lah. Selepas kita dah selesai analisis, kita dah conserve, kita control, dapat optimal level dah. Sekarang kami tahu actual berapa ROI, berapa, bila SPP dia, bila payback period yang kita akan dapat daripada tu. Untuk projek ini, ini adalah annualized saving yang kita orang dapat tunjukkan dalam bentuk carta ni. Daripada tahun 2018 hingga 2019 ni macam-macam inisiatif telah dibuat. Kita tengok sini. So masa kita go live, kita counter check VCS dengan sistem energy monitoring system. Jadi kita daripada aktiviti tu kita dapat reduction yang ketara. Lepas tu daripada data yang kita ada ni kita dapatkan buat training awareness dan kita dapat further lagi pengurangan. Ditambah dengan MCO kita dapat kerjasama daripada tenant untuk reschedule balik semua SEUs dan kita optimize pula dengan semua equipment yang tertentu lah. Sebab bangunan ni 24 jam essential service kan, jabatan yang kantor negara yang custom duduk itu. So untuk strategi akan datang ini 5 FMP dalam FM yang perlu ditekankan lah untuk bantu pengurusan tenaga dapat achieve apa perancangan dia. Semua FM punya activities ni boleh dapat juga benefit daripada energy monitoring system ni, information system ni dalam aktiviti yang proses yang diorang kerja diorang, termasuk O&M, buat servicing pun tak payah nak kalau claim sebelum ni dia claim dapat reading time tu je, susah kita nak buat analisis tentang cara penggunaan tenaga bangunan. Seling benda tu terutama untuk bangunan yang guna lebih 3 juta kWh, saya sarankan lah, saya recommend untuk lantik ESCO lah untuk buat. So dia provide semua ni dan dia tracking sekali semua ROI barang-barang yang kita buat dan bagi kita laporan. Sebab sekarang ni yang di bangunan ni FM energy management ni terpaksa guna resources daripada yang ada. Dia orang ada kerja harian untuk buat routine check, preventive maintenance. So dia seorang energy manager saja kat situ untuk buat dia punya kerja. So itu sajalah fokusian saya, praktis yang saya buat dekat bawah konsep FM ni. Kesukaran challenge yang kita hadap dalam melaksanakan energi pengurusan tenaga di bangunan. Itu saja Zani.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Again, see you again. Cik Batia boleh unshare. Okay, thank you very much, Cik Batia, for the sharing. So I would say you are a living example of engine manager who are trying to do your part, to make sure within your capacity,
Yeah.
I think Zamzul has also shared the challenges. You also shared some challenges. I guess it's something that we have to keep pushing, right? Keep pushing. Otherwise, it never bring results. So now, okay, we have just nice. Thank you very much. My host guest, keeping that time very sharply. So now we have very lot of time basically for us to interact. Okay, so now I don't mind if all of you can open your mic. Okay, if it's not interactive, all right? So you can open your mic, even your video, no problem, right? But you have to bear in mind your background, at your own risk. All right, okay. So now we open to interact among us, Q&A session. Anything that you would like to ask, you share, with what presented by Encik Zamzul and so Encik Bahtia just now. Okay, I have something to say towards the end. I have something, the way I look at it, So can we start to communicate, interact among us now? I'm open the floor to everyone to take the chance, please.
Encik Zaini,
Yes.
can I get some clarification with Encik Bahtia Ismail?
All right.
With regard to manpower tu. You are saying that apa tu? Energy manager buat kerja seorang-seorang.
Sebab dalam organisation, energy manager dia tak ada team energy khas untuk dia lah. Jadi macam kita punya team mechanical, electrical dan civil ni, dia orang banyak fokus dengan dia orang punya PPM scheduling untuk buat servicing, untuk attend work order yang adu-aduan. Jadi bila energy manager nak buat optimization, dia terpaksa tunggu daripada laluan daripada jurutera tersebut lah. Kalau contoh nak buat untuk mechanical, kena dapatkan kerjasama daripada mechanical.
Sebab I presume when you are saying that the contract start middle of 2018 kan?
Saya start buat fokus on ni kontrak tahun 2019 Julai.
Tak buat. And you are the main contractor to this contract kan?
Saya sebenarnya bukan main contractor.
I think that's the issue lah.
Okay.
Because you know what?
And keep off record, keep it off record. Okay, I don't want to have my slot become controversial later.
Later, no. I think if you want to move forward, this is something that when I was in GKR, the first thing that the owner or the stakeholders need to do, or currently kalau government project the JKR, they have to do defensivity condition assessment. From there nanti baru dia tahu sama ada bangunan tu can go towards FM contract atau tidak. Kalau tidak, it has to be OMM. So sebab apa tadi Encik Bahtia mention about measured drawing tak ada. I think that's the issue.
Pertama bangunan lama lah tuan. Bangunan baru macam baru cantik lah. Saya ada beam lagi kan. Ada beam improve a lot lah. Tapi bagi bangunan yang lama ni memang sengsara sikit lah siapa yang ambil alih tu.
Cuma I kata that is where you have to inform these guys. Sebab apa? Macam saya kata tadi lah, kalau projek ni dah projek FM contract, you're talking about people, place, process and technology.
Betul.
When you talk about people, you have to be the organisation. So meaning to say, the contract tu kena ada dia punya organisation.
Betul. Kena ada satu team khas lah.
Ya, betul.
Saya setuju tu. Saya sangat setuju.
How about others? Because I love to hear from others. You see, how you think the best way or the challenges in how to integrate the energy management. Some of you I think very knowledgeable energy management. How you can make it possible. Within the FM activities. That's the key of our discussion today. How we can make it happen. I know one is ideal scenario, one is what we want the reality. So how we can gap, how we can fill up the gap in terms of governance, what the service provider can play the role, what the owner can play the role. This is how we try to look for the kind of solution here. Anyone? Open. I think
one thing, right? It comes down again to the contract.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people are talking about PBC, right? Performance-based contract. But the understanding of PBC is totally different. Okay, what it has to do with energy? Okay, when I was in Singapore, when we say performance-based contract, right, I have only KPIs. My client couldn't care less what I do behind the scene, as long as I get my results based on the KPIs that has been stipulated. And in FM, basically, they will say that, okay, first thing when it comes to PBC, the only first thing they want to see, what is your customer satisfaction is, what's your score, right? It's the same thing with energy. As long as they say you get my savings, maybe 5% per year and annually, you're fine. I couldn't care less what you do behind my back. I get my results. So when you have that, you feel that the client is telling you that, okay, you are the professionals, you are the consultants, you get it done. So periodically, you will basically, present. This is our proposal to the client. And then the client said, okay, what are the milestones? What are the thresholds that we're going to monitor you? Okay, that's about it. Okay, but in Malaysia, the problem is that everybody wants to do it micro, right? So this is where sometimes I mean, a lot of energy managers complain that there's too much intervention from everyone. Everyone is trying to show that they know what they're doing. So no, I'm just telling this is from my experience, because not in Malaysia, but all over the region. It depends on contract, right? But we know the intervention is where a lot of people think that it's going to be a problem for because you must understand. I've been in both side, clients and also service provider. As a client, we think that we are always right on top. As a service provider, we always think that we need to follow the client, right? So this is where sometimes you have a failure when it comes to not only doing energy management, but anything that you want to propose.
Yeah.
But right, that's the thing. But certain places where they see you as an energy management professional, as an FM professional, they require your advice, because it's not the client's core business, right? That's why you outsource. You outsource because it's not your core business. So if your core business is FM, then you should not outsource. Then you're going to have a parallel team in place. So you have an FM team in-house, you have an FM team outside, externally. This is where you have a lot of disputes. So contractually, it's always the success of energy management, like any other portion in FM, depends on the contract, how the contract is being drafted and how the contract is being managed. So if you say whether it's going to be successful or not, it depends on both parties, contract managers, and also the facility management service providers. So that's how I look at it. I'm not saying all contracts are different, all contracts have pros and cons, but in order for it to succeed, there must be a synergy and jive between both parties. That's very fundamental from my point of view.
Thank you, Zamzul, for sharing your thoughts. So I'm happy to see more, right? Comments. Any new comment on that, and then any further questions, share. Because the way I look at it just now, discussion just now, that there's a gap of understanding, right? Okay, how both parties, all parties in that contract throughout the implementation, understand the spirit of the contract. We are talking about, yeah, they define it in the same page. Otherwise, it start to become micromanaging and all that. That's the way I look at it, lah. There's something where we can improve. So there's something more on the governance of the contract itself. All right, start the contract definition and then how they execute, and make sure every party involved having the same idea about that particular goals of that contract itself. All right. So any further, I can see many people here, Encik Ahmad Tua, Dr. David Martin, and then Encik Iqbal, Encik Ahmad Shakir. I can see a lot of names here. Encik Akhir, Mr. Tong Yong Seng. Anyone? Mr. Lionel Fogg. I guess this Lionel from, are you from Lionel from Malacca?
Yes, Tuan.
Yes, okay. So can we hear from others to share? Anyone, please? This is a very informal. Okay, it's no wrong and right. We just come here and then we share our thoughts. That's how the purpose of this session. Please. Anyone?
Yeah, boleh.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you mention your name? Siapa tadi tu? Can you mention your name, please? You can unmute, okay? Okay. Others, come, please. Because I'm not an FM expert. Even I have experience, I'm not the expert. All right. So, but I can see the gap there. All right. I'm happy people in FM, are sharing their thoughts today, who are really on, on the field. Yes. Anyone? Okay, a lot of names. Encik Hizami, Encik Muhammad Rizal, Encik Sofian, Engku Azharuddin, Encik Suami Samsudin, Encik Nazaruddin, Nurza. So can anyone? Nur Syafiqah, Encik Zana Arifin, Encik Zana Arifin. Anyone? Okay, one more thing. I mean, I have to trigger. I have to do some kind of stimulation. All right. Okay, let me share you something. Let me share something here. Okay, if you may something here, if you don't mind, all right? So for me, it's you have a lot of advantage, right? As a this is what I did some my own, some kind of short research on this, right? The way I look at it, right? So there are a lot as a facility manager or facility management company, you have very lot of advantage in the management because first of all, you have the access to all the data. When you are there, you are in the building. Even though you may not be prepared before you come in, but you have all throughout the contract, you can find it out, I believe, if you really find it, you get it. You can get all the spec and all the, if you cannot get it, you have to get it. You have to do it yourself manually or something. Okay. So you have the access to the building and you can get it if you want to. All right. From there, you do your own assessment, what's needed, and then how to use that. Okay. And secondly, you have the direct, or you are responsible, or you can directly influence control of the operation of the equipment. You know the equipment, you are the one responsible for that because the client often require no interruption, comfort. They are comfortable. That's all. You can influence how you operate and control the equipment. All right, provided you meet all the user requirements. Okay, and then the third one, you are also not only that, you are also responsible to replace some of the equipment in some part as well. So any part that use energy, you have some responsibility as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. And then if you are over there for years, right? For a few years, you know the past and present issues of that equipment, how efficient they are, if you can measure and all that. And then another one, you are familiar with the site, and also the personnel. You know who are the decision maker, who can influence this and this and this, you get a lot of advantage. These are the things that, is something you can capitalize on. All right, this is the way I look at it. Okay, so I think should be enough from there. So that's how. So now, okay, so now can we go back to our discussion? So what can we do to impart that energy management into the facility management activities? I'm the host. Okay, I'm not the speaker. I'm the host. Please share your thoughts here. You're supposed to. It's not no right answer and right or wrong answer here or thoughts here. Please. Anyone?
Encik Zaini, if you don't mind, I share a little bit of your slide.
Sorry?
Can I share a little bit of your slide just now?
Okay. You want to see my slide again? Okay. All right. Which one? Which part you want to hold on? Need to. Okay.
I think that responsibilities of the facility manager we can address, all the 5 issues when come to the procurement of the facility management contract. You see, because of course that depends on what actually your scope of facility management that you want to do. You see. Because they are very flexible, as what some of our speakers mentioning, that their lack of data, things like that,
Yep.
So they have to establish first all those requirements of the facility management contract before they can embark into FM contract.
Yep.
So now, of course, that is why we are so concerned in terms of the people there. So the control is the facility manager. So this is where we need to put in, if need before they have to address the energy conservation, then they have to engage or give a job description whereby all this must be in place.
Right. Yep. Must be properly defined, understood. Okay, another one, they will look at it, right? Because FM normally there are people understood, what the role of the facility manager or facility engineers, right? But the way I look at it, the description of the job of the one in charge of energy himself, never been defined. That's why often energy management become part of the job on the O&M itself. So the job never be acknowledged, never be being defined properly. Therefore, it's become always the last thing to do. So they say, this is something where we can improve in the future contract as well. You have to define, the role of whoever in charge on the energy management. Define the scope And we look at the standard, there are a lot of standard. If you go to EMAS, you go to ISO, you go to many guides, they're quite, a lot. Even you can go to even some country got the law, the law define the role of, for example, energy manager. It's really very well defined, so that something to guide. Otherwise, now most of the time I see, I can be wrong. Hardly you can find energy manager have the team on its own, for own. But you have an FM team, but you don't have the energy management team. Except the committee, you meet up every 3 months or 4 months. All right. So anyone, please? Okay, I got one question. Okay, one question here from Encik Zainal Arifin. Okay. In relation to EPC by ESCO, sometimes the products that ESCO carries are manipulated by the system itself. For example, NanoCard, NanoPen, or optimizer. How could we avoid this type of element in the EPC and system? Who would like to share the thought before I share my thoughts here? All right. Okay, how to provide, ESCO with product-based kind of, approach. Okay, they have special product. They're just pushing the products and technologies. That's all. They don't really provide the what's supposed to be the total solution for the project. Anyone would like to share? How many of you familiar about EPC? EPC model, EPC means energy performance contracting. This is where normally third party, ESCO, and EPC company come to you to tell you, we'll do everything, we invested everything, and then we share you with the saving. The saving share with us. Okay, so the owner doesn't really put upfront money. Okay, and then they just guarantee the saving and then share the saving with the two parties in the contract for certain period of contracts, where the owner doesn't upfront any cost. They just pay from the saving. Okay, anyone would like to share some thoughts about this? Question from Cik Zainal Arifin. Anyone? Encik Batia, Encik Tamzul, my fellow guest, my guest today.
Zaidi, I think you better get the ball rolling with the EPC first. Then maybe some of us will chip in.
Okay, put it this way. Okay, I'm a member of a committee member of MISCO, the Malaysia Association of Energy Service Company. I'm a committee member since 2012. All right. The issue of ESCO putting up a solution, this is how I would suggest how you can overcome this. All right. First of all, the owner must understand what's EPC. First of all, the owner must have very strong understanding from the one that make the decision until the one that execute the program. They must understand what EPC all about. And then from there, okay, then they can set the criteria of selecting the so-called capable ESCO, okay, capable ESCO to do EPC with them. So normally we have the criteria. For example, the ESCO must be competent in terms of financially, technically, and so on. And ESCO, all right, normally one of the requirement in EPC project, one of the requirement in EPC project, like it or not, ESCO will help to conduct, okay, energy audit, and normally the level of investment grade energy audit. So this is a detailed study, all right. This audit normally supposed to provide a detailed solution on how they can improve the energy performance that will result in the energy savings. Okay, it cannot be predetermined. Therefore, even for the owner, they must have the good candidates for that kind of building. For example, let's say they know this building is old, equipment are old, very inefficient. So that they know, as a start, they know that this building has candidates. So so there's potential already, but they just need to somehow define how much they can improve and then who will do the job. Okay, so energy audit or investment grade audit, can be something that normally done by the ESCO because it's a part of the business process in EPC at their own cost. For the owner, if you have money, you can do the so-called, so-called benchmarking audit. You do audit on your own cost as a reference. Normally, it's quite common in developed country. They have some budget. They do their own audit for reference, so that whoever ESCO come later, when the ESCO conduct the audit themselves, all right, and then they propose solutions, so they will compare. So normally, if both are good audit versus good audit, normally they won't be that far. So somehow that will reassure the owner that There's something reasonable. It doesn't based on product because the findings of any audit shouldn't be predetermined. You don't know what kind of solution that technology you can bring in yet. So keep it open. Keep it open. So what matters to the owner? Okay, you're supposed to make sure the ESCO guarantee you the result with the solution that you also can understand. How does it work? It's not like a kind of black box and all that. And the product normally is common. For example, talking about building sector, what else can do? The biggest guzzler, chiller system, ACMV, about 60-70% of the energy going there. Nothing new. All right, so it's always common. So this how. So you select that ESCO that are capable. Set the criteria. It's something you can talk to my school. They can guide you further on that. Okay, what normally some of our members come to us, we help them to how to set the criteria and all that. Yes, I hope that helped to answer the Encik Zainal Arifin question just now lah. Luckily, I'm the member of my school. I can answer a little bit on that. All right. Okay. Is it okay, Encik Zainal? All right. Anything further? How we can look into this? How we can integrate energy management into the facility management? At the end of the day, your facility management become more valuable activities. Not just for the client, you just not hoping that no interruption. A very comfortable environment. Not only that, they also can help you to even save costs. Okay, save costs. You are giving more bit than just operation maintenance job. Okay, of course, at the end of the day, reduce the CO2 emission and all that from the reduction of energy consumption. So, anyone? Any? What time now? Okay, we got about more 20 minutes left. All right. I don't like to talk actually. I'm hosting the session for you to talk. Now this avenue for you, please. Okay, anyone? You can proceed. Yes, please. Who's that? Unmute your microphone. Mr. Lionel, anything?
Today I'm quiet, just more of learning from the FM side because I'm operating a district cooling plant. We are separate from that, but I'm trying to learn more.
All right, we have Encik Alan here. Alan.
Hi Zaini, yeah, me too. We are learning from the expert of FM. It's a great idea sharing. I see Encik Bakhtiar put in a lot of effort, and he's a very experienced guy. I really appreciate and work with him.
All right. So this is
I'm very happy.
So these are the kind of feedback also I would like to hear. So not only question, you can share what do you feel about the session here. All right, please. I hope I can help get hear more voice and see more faces.
Ini.
Yes.
Can I share our energy monitoring system?
Yeah, please. Can you just show it? You got live?
So maybe I can get feedback from the market and how.
Yeah, please. Yeah, because you have a solution. I think it's not only one. You're not the only one providing such solution, right? There are plenty out there, right? So
yes.
Okay. So Encik Bakhtiar share his screen now. How he's real-time monitoring, right? So good example.
This is that we currently use for the lot 2G1 that I supervise. Actually, we use Aniscope meter, Aniscope analytics.
Yep.
Then I decided to we can share the data from the Aniscope through MQTT communication protocol. Then we develop ourselves our platform that to apply the ISO 50001. Sistem ni kita boleh, kalau kita ada facility di macam berbagai negeri, kita boleh buat perbandingan dekat dashboard ni. Tapi sekarang ni saya baru buat dekat Putrajaya.
So you have very big vision.
So data-data yang ada kat sini pun tak dapat nak verify lah, tapi apa yang ada di BCIS ada di sini lah. Ini yang January June 2021. Ini 6 month punya consumption.
So we know the biggest guzzler there lah, right?
Yes,
Is
2G4.
it's not confidential, right?
No data actually, so just
Alright.
they don't show the data, just show the graph. So here you can see the previous year, and you can see July, December last year. How about the BI for this year? And June.
But yeah, the way they calculate the floor area is quite uniform, right? Everyone is being guided on how to calculate the proper.
As the BCIS lah. BCIS the discussion dengan DPR kan.
Alright.
To decide the net floor area.
Using the same guide lah for calculating the BI and all the definition.
This is not my I actually take from the BCIS.
Alright. Okay.
So I show you the.
Can you show the BI just now? BI, which one that the highest, the lowest? We need to know if you don't mind. It's a government building lah. After all, no secret lah. Right? The BI just now. So which the highest?
For last year or this year? Last year.
Take it last year. Last year. Go not to 2019. Because last year not normal because COVID. 019.
019.
Better lah because more normal, right? Okay. Can you show the lowest one? Who's get the lowest? BI?
Block B4.
Okay, lower. So this is it. All right.
This is the building that is not yet registered in the system.
The one that occupied. Okay. The highest still complex B lah. What's that? Is it BM office?
No, PM office complex A.
Oh, quite efficient. I got that. Yeah, good.
Yeah, they improve because dia ada buat projek APC kan. Tak salah saya lah.
Alright, okay.
Mana tu? Nak cari kecil.
Okay, it's okay. No problem.
So
how about the one that you monitor real time, Cik Wadia?
Yeah, this one.
Can you share? This one better to share with others.
This is that I monitor right now. I'm using this. Clinical energy user that kita dah decide untuk monitor untuk electrical, general lighting.
Alright.
This is a real time lah sekarang ni.
Oh, real time. So we are privileged now lah. We are privileged now today.
GL ni macam general lighting level 2, level 3, level 4. So we can select zone. This building actually under one installation, bill TMB bill satu. Tapi gunanya ada dua jabatan yang guna. Dulu ada cakap custom guna lebih lah, akaunten negara guna lebih lah. So sekarang tak, kita dah ada record kan. Alright. Okay. Tapi tak ada isu dah lah. So energy manager
client, right? Help them to to see where they are lah, right?
So energy manager dapat senang lah nak buat kerja dia, dan untuk buat presentation dia dekat klien. Setiap bulan ni kita ada meeting. Every 3 month dia orang ada committee meeting dengan energy committee meeting dengan Kementerian Kewangan. So situ kita
any question from others, you can ask now. You can ask open, you can ask. Okay, please. You have any question to Encik Fathia now, please.
Selain pada penggunaan ni, kita pun bukan takat tengok reading ni saja. Ni maintenance pun boleh guna lah untuk dia orang punya ni, tengok VSD working or not. Kalau tengok reading macam ni, kita tahulah ini dia function lah. Selain tu, water system ni kita ambil data meter di bahagian building site lah. GDC meter tu kita tag dekat, kita kongsi reading tu, kita boleh tengok dekat sini lah, supply temperature berapa. So, temperature rentan.
Berapa lama dah appointed dekat Esta?
Can you just your name please, sir?
Elsa.
Just now, can you just what's your name, sir? Dia kata bila you being appointed Encik Fathia kat sana, berapa lama?
Saya buat Julai 2019 baru saya start buat benda ni lah.
Alright.
Sebelum tu saya tak buat ni.
Alright.
So ini yang draft yang kita bagi sedikit daripada data daripada BCIS lah. Apa yang ada parameter dekat BCIS, kat sini kita tunjuk secara grafik. Kalau kat BCIS kita kena download CSV, kita kena plot sendiri lah.
Okay, automatic. Yep.
Lepas tu selain daripada tu kita simpan semua bill pun kat dalam ni. So
Okay.
untuk future kontraktor baru kalau ambil alih, kita hand over je lah kat dia. So tak ada lagi lah missing data ni. Jadi kita ada simpan semua kat sini. Untuk GDC, air.
Okay.
So graph untuk analyze energy consumption pun kita, ini saya dapat daripada kursus dengan Malaysia Green Tech lah. Untuk data analysis tu kan. So,
Cik Batia,
hmm,
Cik Batia, there one time dulu, government policy kata BI should be 100, 120 or 80
180.
100 kan?
But dia different ikut bangunan.
So, jadi mana from this result, they don't do anything.
Saya dah bagilah akses platform ni untuk KKR guna lah. Saya dah offer untuk guna saya percuma pun. Sebab benda ni dalam kontrak kita. So dalam tadi saya tunjuk apa specification FMP tu kan. Memang kalau ikutkan memang kena deliver lah, FM kena buat. Tapi tak semua yang buat, mungkin tak ada mention dalam BQ ke apa, tak tahulah. Saya buat. Kalau yang lain saya tak tahu.
Ya, yeah. Mana just kalau tunjuk begini, just nice to have lah.
Yes.
You don't give anything because that is why. But if you check back dengan FM contract yang pernah saya terlibat tu, dia ada ni key performance index, indicator tu, KPI. Lewat masa apa tu tadi mention, saudara siapa ni? Zamrul. In fact kita ada, bermakna whoever fail to deliver, dia akan kena APD.
Yes.
A certain performance reduction.
Sebab tu
kalau macam ni dah tahu lah. Dulu sebab dia macam ni.
Sebab tu
buat energy audit dekat bangunan JPM pun sama, dan kita buat retrofitting kat situ. Dan even residency PM pun. Sebab disebabkan nakkan BI sebagai kita punya KPI tu. Tetapi kalau misalnya dah tahu, they have to do something lah. So that is why dalam kontrak tu dia ada provisional sum. So provisional sum should be used to address inilah.
Betul. Platform ni pun kalau kita nak connect, cuma upgrade meter lah. Meter kat bangunan-bangunan kerajaan tu kena upgrade. Ada communication protocol lah, bus ke apa, kita boleh link ke sini. Apa yang measure by meter tu sama lah tunjuk kat sini. So banyak berguna lah untuk pengurusan tenaga.
Okay, very nice sharing. Thank you, Batia. Thank you very much for sharing with everyone. So can just, so I think we are got about 8 more minutes left before we stop at 4:30. All right. So I think can you unshare? Thank you very much for sharing.
All right.
All of us are privileged today. Not everyone can have a chance to see that. So I think this is one effort. I think one effort that taken further. All right. But bear in mind, okay, I think as Encik Batia mentioned in his sharing just now, right? All this data information is a part of the overall requirement. If you want to have a complete energy management system, for example, university, so you have this a part of that. Okay, so therefore, before we end this session, I would like to share another one. I did some research, on this matter, just to share with you to wrap up, to somehow for us to come up with some takeaway from our sharing today. Okay, if you look here.
Okay, thank you, Vijay. All right, so a few questions from me.
Yes.
But I wish to ask you to go back to your second slide.
Which one? My slide on
Batia's slide. The topic itself. It's very important that you answer the topic that has been given to you. Okay, now you are going for 3-star AMGS certification. Okay, and you has been awarded a 1-star in 2020, right?
May I know who is speaking, please? May I know?
2021, we just got 1-star. Sorry. Okay, all right. So you're going for 2-star.
May I know who is speaking, please? May I know who is speaking?
Okay. My question is that during the presentation, why do you choose to present to your, assuming that we are the top management, the plan that you intended to do at the last of the not to say the last part of the slides.
May I know who's asking
The
question?
Gantt chart. Let me put
I know
very
who's asking
specific. Why
question.
do you choose to put the chart at the back?
May I know who's
Right.
speaking, please? May I know who's speaking? I can't see. Okay. We are referring to which slide? We got three presenters. Yeah, two presenters just now. May I know who's speaking, please?
Okay, so whose decision is this to put it at the back?
Are you talking in this forum or you are talking to other forum? If you don't mind.
A discussion lah. So there is a decision by the discussion lah. Okay. If I have only 15 minutes to decide, right? As the top management of the hospital, so I'm the pengarah. Okay. I need to oversee overall what's in your mind first. Then you go to the details. That's the way I look at it. But anyway, I didn't say it is wrong. Okay, because the way I look during the presentation, I couldn't capture basically what's the flow from you having the 1-star going to your detailed energy audit was not mentioned, right? Was it mentioned in the first place in the upfront? Where
hello sir. Hello sir. If you don't, I'm lost now.
So what was the detailed energy audit purpose? What's the energy audit? Detailed energy audit. What's the purpose of an detailed energy audit?
May I know first who's speaking? I need to know.
Is there anywhere that you mentioned about detailed energy audit in the slide?
You're referring to which slide? My slide?
Okay, where is it? Can you highlight to me? Scope. Okay,
May I know
selection,
please, if you don't mind. I'm lost now. You know who's speaking? You're referring to which
Tony, I don't think he in our forum.
Is that what you meant by detailed energy audit? This is it. Okay.
So whether he's in our discussion or not, I don't know. Maybe it's
this is 19. Okay. Okay. Is this did you mention verbally just now?
May I know who's speaking, please, if you don't mind?
Okay. So you have done this detailed energy audit?
Excuse me. I think I'm not sure whether it's
Cross-line tu. Ada cross-line tu ceritanya.
Okay,
just
okay
want
lah.
to keep you in track with the what do you call it, the Gantt chart earlier on, or basically towards the end.
I think you can mute the participant first, I guess.
I think, sorry?
I guess we can mute the
Can you
participant
show me
first.
back to the Gantt chart?
I think it's referring to something else.
Because all right. Okay. I have to mute all, sorry. I have to mute all before, and then you can unmute yourself. Sorry. Okay, you can unmute yourself, right? Okay, okay. Okay, it's new to me, okay?
Aduh, pasal hospital tu. Kan, bos besar hospital tu.
Itulah dia salah.
Dia tengah buat decision tu.
Okay, anyway, okay. I think we got a few more minutes left. I think we got 2 more minutes. Okay, just like to share with you, just to wrap up this session. I would like to share this. Okay, I think I totally lost just now. Okay, just okay. I did some. So I'm not FM expert, right? So what I can for take away today, right? So there are a lot of things in energy management, in system management. Okay, first the way I look at it, technology and technological application. This one common. Okay, solution, LED and all that, efficiency and all that. And then you must have as well, right? How we approach in terms of management. Okay, management, because you cannot maintain, the chiller cannot sustain performance by itself. You need to have a system to make sure the performance be monitored. Okay, and then to do that, I think Cik Bastiah highlighted just now, we have to we refer to certain guidelines, standard, protocol. The standard can be technical standard, can be management standard, doesn't matter. Okay, that's why these 3 items, must come together if you want to embed energy management into your facility management. Okay, so this because ongoing. Because another one, okay, further to that, okay, I can share with you this slide. You can email to me, no problem with that. Okay, this is what I managed to get. All right, if you look here, this is what I managed to get. All right, from one guy here, FM definition by Richard Davis, and June 2021, quite recent. Okay, he listed what are the functions, services supposedly can be within the scope of FM. Okay, FM. Okay, so and then if you look here, okay, he listed over more than 20 items can be considered under function, services, and responsibility within FM. Okay, and then I look deeper in that paper. Okay, if you look at that, there are many actually activities in FM itself. Okay, if you look here, okay, related, applicable, okay, based on the standard. I refer ISO 2001, for example. If you look here, you're talking about direct. If you look the blue color fonts here, look all the blue color font here, all activities or function in FM that directly somehow covered under ISO 2001. I even highlighted all the clauses here. So okay, and then the blue color is the one that I can see direct, you know, because I'm experienced in implementing ISO in many places, right? So I can see that one direct requirement in the standard, even in the FM. So it can be together. And then another one, indirect, we go to other red color font here, all right? Okay, this is something indirect. So energy management can be a part of your asset management. It can be a part of your business planning, because energy costs. So cost, you know, matters in business. And it can also involve in change management, environmental management, even ICT. The one that Encik Batia mentioned just now, even he showed some example there, is a part of the ICT facilities. You can embed energy management into that, means that you monitor energy data and all that. Okay, and then look here at the life cycle management. Okay, because if, for example, if life cycle management, if you buy product, don't just look at the purchase price. Look at the total cost of ownership, for example. Okay, and then next one, you got the red color. All right, strategic tactical. Okay, in your management, it's a part of that. So energy management must come with some kind of strategic kind of plan, tactical plan. And also, you also can cover under the sustainability management, because sustainability can be energy, can be recycle, can be water and all that. And another one is value management. How you add value to your organization through energy management. So if you look here, energy management and city management are in sync by nature. It's a matter of how you explore each of that, you know, in detail. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. For example, you do data logging. You do data logging for, for example, temperature. For comfort level, you just make sure everyone's comfortable. But for energy management, you check whether the temperature is efficient at the efficient range or not. You can refer to MS1525, for example, in terms of delta T, for example. Okay, so this is this is what actually. So it's nothing new. It's easy to embed these two. It's easy to integrate the energy management and city management, and that will add value to you. You know, you need to reinvent the wheel here. Okay. So that's basically my wrap up to this lah. So what Encik Zamzul shared, what basically Encik Batia shared, basically is just, you know, from the experience from the field, the reality is that. So it's not something new. You see, you easily can. Yes, I got somebody raised hand here. Who is that? Yeah, Encik
Amir Firdaus.
Yeah, Amir Firdaus, please. Yeah.
Sorry about my attire. I was listening since you started, but while doing that, I'm servicing the aircon and everything.
Okay, so any question?
Okay, the thing is, I think I understand the person before, the pengarah hospital, what he's thinking. He's not really into the technical stuff of it. So we might say we need to dumb it down for a new customer, or at least a potential customer. What energy management can bring to you as as a client. So maybe the way I say why you need to dumb it down, you just mentioned it in the layman terms. We're going to teach you the temperature to maintain your air conditioning, lighting features that you need to use to reduce the consumption, and also the proper maintenance guide to be followed in order to reduce the consumption, all those things. So I've been listening for 1.5 hours. My background will be electrical engineering. So I've been doing consultancy for lightning protection system for Petronas and everything. So what I learned, we need to put it as simple as it can be to approach a new customer, so to speak.
All right.
So as is now, I've been listening for 1 hour and a half. Only engineers can understand it.
Yes. Yeah.
So it is best to come up with some sort of like simple terms to a non-technical person to understand.
The business case of it, right?
Yes, so that's what I mean. You may say, okay, we have the device to monitor the power consumption. What power consumption? What consume the most in the building? So if the aircon, do we need to install some sort of like shield to reduce the entrance of sunlight into the building?
Yep.
All those things. So maybe we need to have some sort of like example, a simple example to make the pengarah, the old-timer, the decision maker that are not technical fluent understand right away.
All right. Thank you very much, Amir. I do appreciate your thoughts. So now sudah lambat, kita ujung-ujung keluar kan, susah.
Yeah, I was like servicing my air conditioning here while listening to you. That's the thing.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think nice sharing as well. Okay, you are really hands-on guy. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, welcome. See you.
Okay. So I hope you are also benefit from this session as well. Okay, so I think we are now at 5:36. So I still, if you don't mind, so maybe one last word from Encik Zamzul and Encik Batia.
Okay, so like I said, I think the field of FM and EM, it's quite wide. I agree with Amir just now. It's not about, when it comes to FM, it's not about being technical. It's providing the best service to your client.
Yeah.
And there must be a synergy between the contract managers and also with the service providers in order to achieve whatever KPIs that has been stipulated. By the end of the day, the objective of the service providers and the contract managers are the same. It's to make sure that your occupants or your building occupants or your end users are comfortable, right? So as for energy, yes, I agree that there must be a different kind of approach instead of always thinking about kilowatt hour, always thinking about the technical stuff. It has to be approached more on a humane or what do you call that? A more layman's approach. That is something that I agree that the approach needs to be different.
So that's a good idea. I think that'll be my next topic, the business case of any management. We can talk about business then, yes.
Actually, the main thing is we have to look from a behavioral perspective or psychological perspective on how we need to make people aware about the importance of energy. I wouldn't say energy reduction, but more on energy use optimization.
Yes.
Right. I think that's the more approach on a behavioral perspective.
Thank you, Cik Zamzul. Thank you very much. Okay. Then Cik Batia, any words, before we wrap up the session today?
Okay, saya cuma nak ucap terima kasih lah kepada semua. Kalau ada apa-apa lagi nak tanya pasal isu kita bincang hari ni, saya minta maaf lah sebab saya quite nervous. This is my first time appearance in like this forum like this. So kalau ada salah cakap ke apa, saya mohon maaf. Itu saja daripada saya. Terima kasih Cik Zaini.
Terima kasih Cik Batia, terima kasih Cik Zamzul. Thank you very much to all of you. Alright, I do appreciate your presence, your attendance. Just hosting it for the purpose of knowledge sharing session. Now I think we can we can end, we can leave this session with a common takeaway. So any FM services, and to be effective, we must be all parties involved must work together in cohesive, in coherent, so that we can achieve the same goal. Alright, the whole idea, everything we achieve same goal when it comes to operation management, also from the energy management perspective. Alright, and then very important last, highlighted by Encik Amir Firdaus just now. So when we come to convincing the top management, we have to speak their language. Okay, we don't speak about frequency or kilowatt hour. We speak about how you link energy performance management into the organizational performance, business performance, all that. That's will for them to listen further. And the third one, I think, especially I think because Encik Batia and Encik Zamzul involved a lot of government projects, right? So there is some gaps, when it comes to the interpretation of the requirement of the contract itself. They must be still be some gap, you know. Maybe some people are ready, service provider are ready, maybe the governance, the administrator are not there, the same page, you know. So this is a gap. So this is where we can improve in terms of awareness and all that. Okay, so I think what I can conclude here, energy management can be easily, easily integrated into facility management because it's a part of that. It's a matter of how you can look into every aspect of that and then figure out one way, one to another. You cannot do all of the time. For example, Cik Batia has got the facility for data collection, data monitoring. So what next? Okay, so how we can use all the data? Just Engineer Arif mentioned just now, it was there, many years ago, but instead not really bring it further. What next? So this that the data must be made to use. Otherwise, data remain data. Because for me, all data, all facts purely, all that basically as a part of your management tool, collect data. But the main idea, the next part is how you can bring all the data to the top management making decision. How we can influence them to make decision. Otherwise, it remain as it is. Data among engineers and operators. Okay, with that, again, I want to thank everyone. I would like to apologize if any, lacking, any, mistake on my part and all that. So thank you very much again to Encik Zamzul, okay, Cik Batia for being my special guest today. So keep in touch, okay, insyaAllah. I'm still looking for next title, next topic for next month, insyaAllah, okay. The idea just very good. Maybe we talk about the business case of energy management. Not just, we don't talk about kilowatt hour anymore. Okay, the way forward, okay. With that, thank you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Again, everyone stay safe. Stay safe. We are not safe yet, so stay safe. Take care of yourself. Okay, stay healthy. Enjoy life. Okay, happy weekend. Thank you very much.
Yes, Assalamualaikum. Thank you, everyone.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. See you. Okay, thank you.